Okay, so here's a quick rundown of my beer cheese recipe. This is going to be starting off sort of as like a classic Oktoberfest style beer cheese, but we're going to kick it up just a little bit. We've got a pound of sharp cheddar. If you're making traditional Oktoberfest, feel free to use extra sharp, whatever, but I will be using in mine enough Dijon mustard, a fat clove of fresh garlic, and beer that actually tastes like something. And there will be enough wang and flavor in this that the sharp, extra sharp cheddar would just probably be too much anyway. We're going to start off by grating this cheese. I'm going to grate it. If you were making regular, super smooth, blended, puree, Oktoberfest style, you could cut this up with your chef's knife, just throw it in there, everything's going to be cool. I'm going for a very particular texture, so we are going to be using, you could shred it through the old all-in-one if you wanted. I'm going to be using this that I inherited from my mother. Right here, you can see how this thing just chews right through a pound of cheese. Next, we'll take our clove of garlic here. That mess. If you're a garlic purist, if you want big chunks of garlic or whatever, feel free to break out your chef's knife, chop that up, dice it however you want. I use this old Reliable. See, it's pretty quick and easy. Most would call for regular black pepper. I like this seasoned pepper. It's just prettier. If you must have measurements, we'll call this a quarter of a teaspoon. Don't get too crazy on the pepper. It'll really mess up because it's so aromatic. It'll compete with the funk. I don't like super hot beer cheese. I'm not a fan. I like spicy food. I'm not a huge fan of beer cheese being so hot because I like to taste beer, not hot. I'll put just a couple pinches. Some crushed red pepper flakes, kind of grind them up in your fingers as you put them in there. Traditional calls for like yellow salad mustard. I like the Dijon. We're gonna call it, I don't know, we'll call it a tablespoon, so 2 good heaping teaspoons. For me, I'm all about that mustard. Like I said, you don't need the extra sharp cheese. You got plenty of mustard. A bit of the old Worcestershire sauce. Little Perron. We'll call it a tablespoon, but again, you see I kind of like, let it flow. Here's another spot where you can get yourself in trouble. We're going to call it officially 3/4 of a cup of beer for this pound of cheese. I spread her around there. But I call it 3/4 of a cup of beer and a swallow. If you put too much beer in there, it's going to get thin and it's no good to anybody. If you don't put enough, it's not really beer cheese, is it? Now I wanted to zoom in pretty close here on the food processor because this is where it makes or breaks it, in my opinion. Again, if you're making classic Oktoberfest style beer cheese, turn this thing on, let her rip until it's smooth as butter and you're done. I like a very particular chunkiness on. Get it started with a few pulses. Give the sides a good scrape down intermittently as needed to make sure all your precious cheddar gets its day. And continue. up there. You can see we're starting to get a little chunkiness, sort of like a, I don't know what you call it at this point. Right now it's a little smaller than, say, cottage cheese type chunkiness. This is almost there for me. I'll throw in some dried parsley at this point. If you want to throw some fresh parsley on top of it when you serve it as like a garnish or whatever, that's cool. I don't recommend putting fresh herbs in the beer cheese because if it doesn't get eaten like in the first day or two, you know, that vegetation is going to start turning gross. Why do that to your beer cheese? Looking good, smelling great. Oh, just perfection. We're gonna give it like 5 more seconds and it's done. Perfect. You can eat this now, but I'm begging you, put it in something, put it in your refrigerator for at least an hour. Overnight is better. Overnight would be great, but at least an hour let this sit in the refrigerator because there's fresh garlic that just got chewed up in there. It's got to do its thing. Give it an hour, please. I'm begging you. That's it. My beer cheese.